Hey there guys, it's me Victor here. I'm going over the weekly recap, what you do for the YouTube channel and for the blog. Lots to go over. Overall, 3 trades this past week. All of them on the short side. Both on the short, all 3 of them on the short side. 3 tickers: IDEX, KTOV, and the other one which I'll go over. Once more, the goal of doing these is to keep track of my trading. And once more, I'm not a financial advisor. Everything I say on this video is for educational purposes only, alright? And one more thing before I get started. I've been getting a lot of questions about what my strategy is, and understand something about the stock market. What works for me is not going to work for you, okay? Again, it's not a direct cause and effect, okay? That's when everyone tries to follow the leader mentality. It doesn't work, okay? Yes, you may have some success in the beginning, but over the long run, following the leader mentality, following alerts from gurus is not going to help you, okay? Instead, use the alerts that you get from the gurus to use them to utilize to build upon your trading strategy. Always ask why, okay? Now, before I go into my trades, I want to go over a little rant over some key topics I want to get off my head. Number 1 is that before you go into any stock that's buying or shorting, you always want to know why, okay? And that's one thing that I always ask myself. Before I enter a trade, ask myself, is this worth the trade, okay? And if you always want to know why you want to trade the stock. If you don't know why, you're just trading randomly. And what do you expect? If you trade randomly, you're bound to get random results. It's not fucking rocket science, okay? You always want to go in with a game plan. You always want to go in with the target price. Most importantly, you always want to go into a trade thinking worst case scenario. Alright, many traders, they go into, again, I'm not perfect. Alright, I am a victim of what I'm about to tell you. Sometimes I go into the trade thinking to make the most amount of money. And that's something I have to get out of my head. That's something that I want you to be aware of. Is that if you trade for the P&L, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle. Because if you focus on trading, the money will come as an afterthought. The money is a byproduct of your craft. And most traders, and myself included, again, not perfect, go into the trade risk first. Ask yourself, what is the worst case scenario? Ask yourself, how much am I willing to lose on this given trade? Because once more, you have to ask yourself, what dollar amount am I comfortable losing with? Because everyone's going to be different, okay? You may be different on who the hell you are. Everyone has their own unique threshold. That is what makes the stock market unique. Again, as I mentioned before, everyone has their own unique personality. For instance, for me, I have every trade, I like to know my uncle point, my exit point. I always have an entry, I always have a stop, I always have a target price. And if the stock doesn't do what I want, I have an exit plan, and I get the fuck out. I do not hold and hope. As my guru Tim Sykes always says, follow rule number 1, which is cut your losses quickly. Because once more, holding and hoping is not a strategy. Because with a small account, which I assume you have, the only goal you should have in the beginning is to outlast your enemy. And it's 3 common things to become elite in the stock market, in my opinion. Number 1, again, 3 things. That's my opinion, but who am I? I'm no one, right? I'm down roughly 1K. But again, I've only been trading for 4 months. But I've been doing this for 103 weeks. So I'm not perfect, again. I just like to talk about stock market. But 3 rules of trading, in my opinion, you have to not master, because you're not going to master the market. I guess try to perfect every day and build upon them. Is number 1, risk management, meaning you want to outlast your enemy. Okay, because with a small account, everyone's trying to. I mean, yes, in the market we're in right now, I see a lot of traders out there making home run trades, and that kind of hurts my feelings because I am not making shit. But who cares, right? And that's another thing. Side note: filter out the noise. But number 1, you want to have risk management. And you want, what is it? Well, two things. My fault. I'm not gonna get it out. You want to have a competitive advantage, and you want to have an effective risk management plan. Now, having an edge, that means having statistics and backtesting strategies that work for you. And once more, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I mastered that. I have not, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you should do, because that's something that you have to discover along your trading journey. And doing so takes time, and doing so takes failure. But most importantly, you will get it as long as you don't give up. And secondly, along that line is having an effective risk management plan, meaning that you have to stay in the game. Because I see a lot of people blow up their accounts and just on 1 or 2 trades. They go all in. That's one thing I do not do. I don't go all in. I mean, yes, today on one stock, I did take my largest loss of my trading career. I'm not proud to show it. My largest loss today was roughly $900 to roughly $300. As you see here. Once more, side note, my trades on Profitly are not accurate. I'm not sure what's going on with Profitly. I don't want to get off topic here, but I import them the exact same way. But for some reason, Profitly shows me up, but it shows me that I'm down. Well, I haven't really uploaded the trades which I took this week, but Profitly is off. Okay, it says I'm down $400, but I mean, in reality, I haven't imported the trades. I mean, I'll be down what for? Yeah, Profitly is wrong. Okay, I'm not going to sit into that. I'm down when I'm not. I'm down even more than what I'm down now, but it's fine. Again, tuition on Wall Street. So the goal is, again, back to what I was saying. I'm sorry. You want to have an edge, and you want to have a risk management. Okay. Now, risk management is very important in my trading process. Okay. Now, what do I mean by risk management? Number one, as I always mentioned, you always want to have a stop. Excuse me. You always want to have a stop in your mind. Like whenever you enter a stock, you always want to know where you're going to get out. Because if you don't know where you're going to get out, you're just trading randomly. And again, you're like, think of yourself as a pilot, right? You always want to do your checklist before you take off, and do your checklist whenever you're in the air, right? And as a trader, it's your job to do the same. Before you enter a trade, manage it. Whenever you enter, manage it. And it's all about quality and the execution that results in a great trade. But overall, things have been going well. I'm sorry if I went on a rant there. I just like talking about what I've been seeing a lot. And another note is I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter posting their P&L. That's great and all. But for me, I know that it does, I wouldn't say bother me, because I know most of the traders out there, like, well, I'm not going to name them. You know who they are. They earn that right. They showed their huge P&L, and they've been doing this for years. And it takes time, you know. And lasting success takes time. That's one thing I want to get across. That whoever's watching this, just know that anything's possible. All you have to do is just keep going forward and not give up. Because again, it's very easy to quit trading. I do believe that this trading is one of the hardest things that I will ever embark on, and I've only been doing this for 103 weeks, and I never really thought about quitting. I mean, yes, sometimes it is depressing, but I mean, I always tell myself I'm only 21. The market's going to be there for the rest of my life, and that's another thing I want to get my point across, is that throw out the noise. All right. I mean, yes, you see all of these P&L profits on Twitter and social media, but understand that it took them years to get to that level. And you can get there if you stick with it, if you show up every day, if you do your due diligence, if you do your homework, your studies, etc. But understand that it will not happen overnight. Okay? Just like Rome, you know the common saying that Rome was not built overnight. True and lasting success takes time. Okay? But that's all my rant. So let's go over the 3 trades which I took this week. As I mentioned, I did post the IDEX trade recap on YouTube, but I don't mind I'll go over it again right now just real quick, but I'm not going to go into the big dive details, but I guess I might. Who knows? But for the week, I'm down roughly $146. All right, not again life-changing in a huge scheme of things. Again, the trades I make now mean fucking nothing. Okay, I'm going to keep saying that over and over and over again, because it doesn't, okay? They mean something in market tuition and knowledge-wise. I'm learning from these trades. Believe me, I'm not just trading for the fucking fun of it. No, I don't trade for fun. That's another point I want to get across from here. Trading should be boring. Trading should be effortless. If you're trading for the entertainment, go bowl, go golf, go do whatever the hell you want. Go walk your dog. But when it comes into markets, bring your A game. Treat trading as a business, not as a hobby, okay? That always pisses me off. People say trading's a hobby. No, it's not, motherfucker. Okay? It's not. And forgive me for cussing, but it pisses me off. A lot of my peers think trading is a hobby. It is not a hobby. Those who think it's a hobby fail. And yes, I may sound like a hypocrite because I'm down roughly $1,000. But once more, the trades I make in the beginning mean nothing. Now, one of the best traders in the world, transparent-wise, Tim Gertani, lost for the first 9 months of his trading career. He went down in the hole roughly $1,500, and he climbed himself out, and 10 years later he's parlayed that into 12 million plus, you know. And did he give up? No. That's one example. There's many more out there, but he's at least one that is willing to show his trades, because again, not everyone wants to be transparent. I'm not going to shit and tell you should show all your trades. It's hard. I mean, yes, I'm down. I just showed you. These are all my trades. I'm not hiding shit, okay? I mean, what do I have to hide here? I'm making no money. But I do this because a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, I'm going to look back at this video and I'm going to say, wow, I've come a long way, you know? And that's the whole reason why I do all these. And I do hope you learn something from these, okay? And yeah, but I always get off topic. I don't know what I was talking about. What was I talking about? I don't even know. I'm not gonna edit this out. I'm not feeling well. I'm kind of tired. We're in the midst of a coronavirus. I say I have a cold, but I don't want to say I have COVID. I don't want to scare anyone. But yeah, as I was saying, 3 trades this week, down roughly $146. 3 shorts, all on this week on IDEX, KTOV, and MDCA. Now, IDEX, I already went over. I'm not going to waste your time on it. I have a recap on it. But I guess simply, I was shorting this, and I lost roughly $87, okay? Now, I was short roughly, let's just do some fucking math. Now, I hate doing this in hindsight because I hate using hindsight trading. I don't want to be labeled as a hindsight trader. But I was short at an average of 265, okay? Now, as you can see now, I did cover at 271 because, as I mentioned in the video recap of this one trade, I was shorting at the bottom end of a channel, which that is the worst time to short. Okay, Victor? I've done this many times before, and today I did it again. I did the same exact thing I told myself I was not going to do on a different ticker today, which resulted to me in a $300 loss. And I'll go over that in a minute. But shorting at the lower end of a channel has the poorest risk reward. You always want to short at the top near end of a channel. Now, this was in a nice channel between 265 and 275 the entire day. And big picture, yes, I was on the right track, shorting. But timing, again, shorting, 2 things, timing and risk management, okay? Risk management, yes, I was fine. I had a game plan, I was willing to lose, etc. I had an entry, stop, target. Timing, I was off. I was shorting, lower end of a channel, worst spot to short. I mean, yes, I did cover. I mean, I was going to cover eventually, okay? Because the time to short was not at 265. The time to short was in the pops of 280. Because, of course, the next day, this motherfucker collapsed. And it's a blatant pump, okay? And, again, I was short from 262, okay? And let's do some math here. Let's say I went into a coma. Let's say I took a nap. And let's say I'm just going to say I want to hold the stock. It's going to go to 0, okay? It's a pump. I was short from 265, and let's say somehow, some way I held right now. That'd be $1.25 a share, right? And I had roughly 1,400 shares. That will be a net gain of roughly $1,687. That is if I would have held my short, okay? That's if I would have risked the pain. But I did not, because I shorted at the wrong time. And I'm not blaming no one else. I'm blaming myself. I'm taking full responsibility and accountability. Okay? Accountability breeds responsibility. I want you to just leave that in the comment section. Accountability breeds responsibility. And it's my fault. Okay? I allowed FOMO to take this one trade. I let fear of missing out, fear of me missing the down to flush, miss me out. But one thing I have to remind myself of is that as much as these stocks do go up, there's always going to be range towards the downside. I mean, this stock today collapsed to a fucking T. And yes, I tried shorting it, but no borrow, no cry, because E-Trade, again, I'm not blaming E-Trade here. I should probably have a different broker that specializes in shorting. But yesterday, E-Trade had shares to short the entire day. But it's not a coincidence that today, E-Trade didn't have shit. And of course, forgive me for all this movement. I'm not used to this platform. But today it fucking faded the entire day. And congrats to anyone who short this stock, because this will likely go back to 0. Because I assure you, this is a blatant pump. Okay, look up the ticker on Twitter, IDEX. There's been numerous exposés on this. They've changed their name numerous times. It's the same fucking pattern over and over and over again. And I was on the right track with this one, but I missed out on the move because number one, I was shorting at the lower end of a channel. I was allowing fear of missing out take the trade. That's something that I need to work on. But overall, yes, I mean, small loss of 88 bucks. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I would have held the entire way. I would have not. I would have likely covered in the 280s. Without my risk point was 275. So who knows what would have happened? But I simply covered because I was uncomfortable with the trade. So I got out. Small loss of $88. 87. Whoopie-doo. After that, KTOV was a beautiful trade that I recapped on the recent YouTube video. I covered this one today. I mean, I nailed the bottom. This is really the first short that I was 100% effective. That was really fucking weird. I mean, I nailed the fucking bottom. Simply, I was short of the bounce. This has been a recent runner of late. Again, these stocks, I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're good companies. They're all junk. They're all going to fail in the long run. But I was shorting this stock into the bounce yesterday after the first hard crack. And again, always know why. I was shorting the bounce into the nice bounce right here after the first hard crack from a what average, Victor? I did the recap on it. From a 123 average, you could say. Right, well, I'm not sure why I'm showing the chart. I'm just trying to show you the big picture. I got short right after this big drop. Has a good risk reward in my opinion. I got short right about this pop. And yes, again, timing, perhaps I shorted too soon. I could have got a better entry in the double top of 280s, but what's a few cents a share away? So we're talking about 2 cents a share. I mean, the high of that was what? The high of that angle was 228. I shorted from 123. And yeah, the reason why I didn't cover, because again, my risk point was not hit. And that's another key point I want to get across from you, is that sometimes you will get stopped out of a trade, like you might get shaken out. So a quick way to solve that is to use a wider stop. I mean, yes, that will give you fewer shares, but it help you with staying within the trade. And that's something I'm working on for myself. I haven't perfected that one. But overall, great trade in this one. I nailed the bottom. That's kind of the first time I ever did that. I didn't get greedy because, as you can see today, what is this even going? Sorry about that. But as I was saying, I didn't get greedy because, as you can see, the entire day it kind of consolidated. So I simply took my single. Overall, going into this day, that was my largest trade as a short, roughly 240 bucks overnight. I didn't get greedy. I simply locked in gains and on to the next. And great trade overall. But then came MDCA, and this one was another short where, big picture wise, I knew the pattern. I was on the right track. But again, as a short seller, timing. And once more, this one was both timing and risk management. As you can see here, well, big picture chart wise, I got short this stock at 240. Now this is a nice gap short. Now if you don't know what a gap short is, I go over it numerous times in the blog post. Look it up in the recaps. I do have one or two, I believe, on my website. Just look it up on curiositytrader.com. But I was shorting into a bounce. But again, we're talking about channels once more. I was shorting at the worst possible area you could, at the lower end of a channel. And with these gap shorts, I knew, of course you never know, but it's all about odds. The odds says that this was going to have a nice bounce, okay? And we did have a nice bounce. But I did not take part in that bounce because why? Because I was focusing all my attention on trying to take the meat of the move and trying to nail the washout. I was shorting weakness. I was shorting the bottom end of a channel. And that costed me, all right? And it's kind of funny because sometimes I've been noticing that whenever the trades, the shorts that I'm wrong on, those are a great buy signal. Because if I would have bought this, it would have been a great trade, right? But the best time to short was into the pops. But am I upset? Not really. It's just one thing I'm working on here. I was shorting 240s into this bounce. I believe it was this bounce right here. I just showed you. It was in this bounce right here. My risk was 250s. So either way, I would have stopped out, because this, I mean, if I would have held the entire way, you never really know. It's a Friday. It could have easily had a nice gap reversal. So either way, I would have covered, because you really never know. As I mentioned, it's a Friday. It is a short squeeze, and short squeezes can happen, just like on CBLI, which I'll go over in a minute. That was an absolute gift, which I didn't take part of. I was too afraid, and I'm working on that, but I'll go over that one in a minute. But overall, yes, I'm upset. I lost roughly $300, but again, as I mentioned, it's market tuition. Okay, always, if you can walk away from your losses telling yourself, wow, I learned something from that trade, it's not a loss. Okay, because every loss should give you a valuable lesson. Every loss should give you an insight of what to improve on in your trading. And again, I'm not saying to ignore your winners. Focus on them as well, but treat them as an equal. Okay, but don't be upset when you lose. Okay, I see a lot of traders get upset when they lose, and if you don't know why you lost, then yeah, be upset, but always know why you lost. Just always, as well, most important, always know why you made money. Because if you don't know why you made money, that's even more scarier. But always know why you lost. Okay, and yes, always know why you lost. And I lost roughly $300 on this trade, because again, I was shorting into weakness. I was shorting expecting 240s to flush out and have a nice flush out. And yes, again, big picture, I was right. Big picture, I was right. But again, once more, timing. I was shorting at the lower end of a channel, just like on IDEX. And meanwhile, I should have been patient for my entry and shorted into the nice bounce. And that cost me a great trade. I mean, yes, it's my fault, Victor, because I could have entered numerous times. I could have shorted this pop right here, but I would just kind of, I don't know why I didn't short these. These pops are meant to be shorted into. These bounces, I should have been short into these bounces, but for some odd reason, I didn't have the balls to do it. But no big deal. I mean, this pattern will always come back. It's a nice gap short. Human nature never changes, right? But again, key takeaways from this one, as you can see here, just read it, pause it. Key weaknesses, as I mentioned, shorting bottom end of a channel, as well. I wouldn't say, yes, this is outside my risk limit, because again, this trade, I only intended to lose 150, but the reason why it went, well, yeah, it's my fault. I covered, again, my risk price is 250, I covered 260s, so I was holding. That's something you don't want to do. I was holding and hoping, and again, either way, I would have gotten the fuck out, because yes, again, as I mentioned, if I would have held this short, I'll be up nicely, but again, as I mentioned, you never really know how high this will go, because shorting these low float runners can really run, as that those who know who shorted CBLI, they got their asses handed to them. Monster squeeze, congrats to all longs there. But yeah, overall for the week, down $146. Another week in the books. I mean, for June, I am down still, what? For June, I'm down $331. And something I'm noticing, I have to minimize my losses here, because I have big wins, but today's loss, that's one thing about trading, is you always want to minimize your losses and maximize your gains, and I'm noticing that. And in MDCA, yes, it's my largest loss to date, but I assure you, I'm going to lose more, and I can't help it, but I mean, I have to control my risk, have to control my losses, you know, and losing is a part of the game. But overall, markets have been on fire. Congrats to everyone who banked on CBLI. I had a buy order to buy this at $3, but I didn't have the balls to do it. I don't know why. So I just gotta focus on, again, I need to be able to go long and short. As a trader, you want to have, like, it's like a toolbox. So you think of yourself as playing tennis, as my guru Tim Sykes would say. You want to be able to have a forehand and a backhand, you know? And I should have bought the breakout. This would have been a great breakout. I'm not saying I would have held the entire way, but this has ran in the past. I mean, look at the volume. The volume is freaking massive. The volume for today was 51, nearly 52 million. That's insane. With no news. With no news on it. That just kind of shows you what's been going on lately. On runners like CBLI, IDEX, VXRT was another one. Congrats to everyone who banked on that one, along with Workhorse. That's been a gift. This one keeps going, I believe, unless it collapsed after hours. I don't know. No, it's holding up well. This will likely squeeze in more. Wow, quite impressive on that one. Again, all these are pipe plays. But one I'm watching for next week is CYDY. This one has been a gift from the market. Now, whenever you see these green days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you must understand that that is not sustainable. Okay, everyone and their mother is waiting for this to have a massive panic. And if you know what a morning panic is, I want you to do your homework and look up Tim Sykes' morning panic on YouTube. Okay, he has tons of information online. It's going to have a beautiful morning panic. It's not a question of if, it is a question of when. Okay, I mean, this is just a gift. Okay, I'm not sure what's behind this. I know that they have a medicine with coronavirus, but understand, most of these companies trying to help the virus, yes, that's good, yay for them, but understand, most of them, if not all of them, will achieve nothing. Okay, it's all hype. And CYDY is showing us signs of weakness, is showing us signs of topping, is showing a sign of the momentum waning here. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Just like on IDEX, it wasn't a question of when, it wasn't a question of if, it was a question of when it was going to collapse. And it did collapse. It's going to go down even more. Hopefully there's a bounce next week. But with CYDY, this will collapse soon. Now again, I'm not saying this is going to go back down to where it came from. No, I'm just looking for a massive morning panic like we've seen on this ticker numerous times in the past. And I have cataloged it. But we had a late day fade yesterday. Everyone thought that was the end. No, gap up. I mean, I don't know what's behind this, but this stock is strong as a motherfucker. But look out for it next week. You want to wait for the trend change, okay? Every day for the past 7 days, this motherfucker has gapped up. Every day it has gapped. Forgive me for cussing. Again, I hope kids are not watching this. I just get very passionate. Every day, gap up, get gapped up every time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You wait for the trend change. You wait for the inability to gap. Then that is going to be the telltale sign that this is going to collapse. Now again, I mean collapse as in a morning panic. I'm not saying this is pumped. I'm not saying again, don't take my advice as trading advice. It's just for educational purposes only, okay? But it'll be a fun one to watch. I'll record it live, whatever happens. I hope I don't miss it, but I feel like I will because I'll be at work all next week. But you heard it here first. The higher the better. Understand that I want this to go higher, okay? Because the higher these go, the better the odds say this will have a nice panic down the road, okay? But I'm not going to say anymore. But overall, that's it for this week. The week going forward, just to focus on what I'm good at. Again, I'll be at work Monday, Tuesday, and I'll be in front of the screens only Wednesday through Friday. That's more than enough days. And what's more, I only do have 3 day trades within my E-Trade account, but I do have enough money to split that. But as of right now, I'm just keeping all the funds in one. If I do plan to split the money, I'll likely go with some other broker, not TD Ameritrade. I just think they're not great right now with all the high demand. I've been hearing a lot of bad issues with latency and such. But again, next week, just focus on A+ setups, focus on what I'm good at, and just filter out the noise. And once more, the key points from this video, if you made it this far, is to take accountability. Again, leave a comment if you made it this far saying accountability breeds responsibility. Okay, don't blame no one else for your trading mistakes. Take full responsibility for your actions, okay? And I mean that, okay? Yes, I lost roughly $300 today. I'm not blaming no one else. I'm blaming myself because I lost. I didn't lose it. Market tuition, okay? And does it hurt? Yeah, not really. I mean, what's more means nothing in the long run. But overall, week 103 in the books. Well, week 103 ahead. If you made it this far, once more, I'm not a guru. I'm not a master of the markets. I'm just a 20-year-old who's obsessed with the stock market. 103 weeks in, looking for the state of consistency and profitability. And going forward, I hope you enjoyed this video and many more to come. But other than that, I'll see you on the next scan and next trade recap. Have a good one.